What is up, DTube Steam blockchain? So today I want to do a video about a topic that I want to call does everything have to be monetized? Or does everything have to be monetized? So this video is a little bit inspired by the rise up of all the ERC20 tokens, uh, the potential smart media tokens, and all the other tokens that are sort of in this industry. And a core thing that I want to add into all of this is the way I feel when I'm using apps on my smartphone right now, and I have a high-end phone, Galaxy S10 Plus. I sort of feel as most tasks that you're doing with your hand when you're scrolling or swiping or clicking around a little bit or typing a message, there's a lot of basic tasks that humans are doing. Swiping, scrolling, clicking, writing a word here and there, copy paste. It's not something highly advanced, to be honest. And one of these ideas with the internet is, of course, that humans are using it because they love it so much. They love to swipe, they love to scroll, they love to click. But I don't really think people like it that much, but that they're doing it just because they don't have any alternatives. But when they have an alternative and they have, oh, do one click and it does stuff automatically, then you're just gonna click once and then you don't have to do it the same time or the same 100 times. So for example, we can have in 2022 or maybe 2021, your smartphone maybe comes with an artificial intelligence that exactly notices some trend or some habit that you're doing with your phone, some repetitive action, and it can just ask you, oh, I see that you're doing this action every day, this time, and it's quite repetitive. Do you want me to fix it for you instead? And at first you're probably going to be a little bit suspicious. You sort of going to wonder, what are you doing there? But then you're going to realize, oh, wait a sec, you're doing actually a pretty good job. Now, my personal experience, at least this year, has been with first watching the automatic text generator tools with GPT-2, and seeing how amazing it already is at generating or filling out text when you're just typing a few sentences at the first. And then also seeing, yeah, you seeing how assistants are just getting better and better and better and better, uh, and that they can do more and they can do more, they can do more, they can do more tasks that you used to do. So you don't have to do so many tasks because the machine can do the tasks. So the concept of so it's very interesting, this concept of does everything have to be monetized? I don't really think so. So right now it's kind of interesting because this is an exponential industry, so you can't really see something coming. So we can have like 2 or 3 years, 2 or 3 years where it seems like nothing is happening. But when you're running the numbers and when you're computing a little bit, you're starting to see all the time. If you compute some in your little calculator, you do some numbers today, and then you do them 6 months from now, or if you go back 3 months from now, you can sort of see that if you're running the calculator and you're running the numbers, you're starting to see that they're probably going up. Like, you're starting to see that they're getting better and better and better, and that they haven't uh, that it hasn't really manifested in, let's say, physical reality or human reality in the way where, I mean, these machines and computers, they are going to be able to compute so large numbers that we can't even imagine it. Like, we don't have that amount of gigabyte in our memory, in our head, to be able to compute a lot of these stuff. But computers will. Like, they will have the memory, they will have the data, they will have the computing power to do that. So in terms of like, should we monetize everything? So we humans, like, even when we're running numbers now, it starts to get a little bit silly when when we're starting to have these massive big large numbers. And we, in our human mind, we think, oh, this is genius, we can monetize everything and then we can make more. But what we don't realize is we can just have a little box, a little machine that can really do everything that we do, like literally everything that we do in terms of computing. It can do those things, and we do not have to do the manual tasks of that we think, for example, we are super productive when we are clicking a button here and there, we're swiping a little bit, uh, we're reading something, and then we're making a video or whatever. It's like we think we're super productive, but we're not really productive at all. There's so much time waste we humans are doing, and we can save so much time and energy with these new clever machines. So I don't so monetize everything. So even then, in theory, if we can do it, like let's say you have a lot of value, like let's say some sort of token or something goes up massively in value, like a million X. And then in theory, yeah, and then people have that value. And then in theory, they can do a bunch of other tokens also that also, and then they can pump them in value. But if you have something that comes out that is so superior to everything else, and you realize, oh, I never have to do the clicking, the swiping, the small little tasks. I don't have to do that anymore. Then it's like, okay, in theory, yeah, we can in theory monetize everything. But then it's almost as you can hit the point where if you monetize more, then you sort of overcomplicate it. You complicate it more than what it actually, or you complicate it more than actually what it has to be, right? So you can see that humans are trending towards, they want something simple and easy. They want to save time and energy. So it wouldn't really be so ideal. Like when we're early in like an exponential curve, we really enjoy the ideas of 50 or 100 tokens earnings per day. But then we realize, well, when we're later in an exponential curve and when we really figure out the game theory and figure out exactly what works, then we only need to double down on that system. Don't have to create a billion other half-baked systems. Only need to get the best game theory system and double down on that, reinvest on that. I sort of learned this a lot in when doing YouTube videos. Always checked what videos are performing the best and double down on that. What is getting the most views? Double down on that. And that is kind of how this industry, this token industry or blockchain industry, they're probably going to be that way as well. So me looking at this industry the last few years has been mainly been research and development, and that has been the main value, and it hasn't really manifested in some USD value or some fiat value, because, well, research and development is kind of like a boring process. It's a lame process. In terms of someone that's on the outside and looking at it, it looks like nothing is really happening. But the person knows, they are aware how much smarter they are now than what they were maybe 5 months ago or 12 months ago. They can see how much more they have expanded the borders of ignorance, and that is quite exciting. So yeah, do we really have to monetize everything? I don't think so. That would just overcomplicate it even further. And and also then that you would eventually then get to the point of you would realize or you would notice eventually what, so most of the stuff that's just cloned, let's say a token that's been cloned or something like that, and the developers or the team, they haven't really invested that much in research and development, and you're going to detect that pretty fast then. So you can sort of see if something new pops up, you will pretty fast be able to realize, oh, is this going to be a success, is this going to be a failure, have they invested in game theory and research and development? And most teams hasn't done that, and most are not even up to speed of exactly what's going on in the industry, and that there's so little people that actually has the perception to know what really goes on, and that actually is up to speed and has gathered the right amount of knowledge to actually know what is going on at this current moment. So yeah, that is what I wanted to talk a little bit about. So it's fun in terms of it's fun to play around with like this these concepts of monetize everything, and it's fun to play around with that idea. uh, it sounds cool, like, but I think we're not probably gonna do that exactly that way. uh yeah, we're just gonna use a few things that works amazing, and probably those things are gonna be so much better than the rest. So, and you see this also with communities and with people, that they tend to eventually gravitate towards one person or one project eventually, or a specific place, because they can see that this place knows more than the others, and you can see that you can get a higher, you can get faster success if you do those sort of things, and stuff that's like highly successful, super successful. It most of the time probably doesn't try to spread itself too thin and try to do tiny aspects here and there. Usually you don't really get that amazing results from that, but it's like really when people focus in on what really works, right? So, and a lot of things, yeah, they can work a little bit on the surface, and it is a little bit fun to play around with, like making a token, right? But is it really gonna work in the long run? Probably not. Not most of it, and that's a little bit boring to hear, of course, for a lot of people. But I don't think that's really a sad story, because we can really double down on really, as I said, what works. So maybe a few things. Yeah, a few things. So yeah, that's what I want to talk a little bit about today. Have a great day, DTube and Steam blockchain.